لا لا أبدا بالعكس.
Okay, we're live now.
Oh, it's shaking.
لا لا أبدا.
It's Sheikh here.
Okay, we're live now.
I don't think Sheikh is here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, Most Merciful, and may peace and salutations be showered upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and upon his family and companions. To proceed, we welcome you all to tonight's lecture, which is with our Sheikh Muhammad Al-Maliki, and it's a continuation of last week's lecture where we're looking at some of the rulings pertaining to the winter months. Our Sheikh is here and he's joined us, and inshallah ta'ala we'll continue where we left off from last week. فَلْيَتَفَضَّلُوا مَشْكُورًا. We ask our Sheikh to continue with thanks.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على محمد رسول الله سيد الأولين والآخرين وإمام الأنبياء والمرسلين والشافعي المشفع يوم الدين وعلى آله الطيبين وأزواجه الطاهرات أمهات المؤمنين وصحابته الغر الميامين ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، حياكم الله أيها الإخوة والأخوات إلى هذا اللقاء الثاني من مدارسة أحكام الشتاء والمطر، حيث أننا نستقبل في هذه الأيام الشتاء ويكون فيه المطر فيكون له أحكام. نعم.
Indeed, all praises are due to Allah, and may the most complete salutations, peace and blessings be showered upon Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him, the leader of the first and the last, the Imam of the pious, the one who gives the intercession on the day in which there is the intercession. And may Allah also shower those peace and blessings upon his good, pure wives, the mothers of the believers, and upon the companions and those who follow their way to the day of resurrection. To proceed, tonight's lecture will be about the rulings pertaining to winter and also pertaining to rain, because rain is likely to come and it's more likely to fall in the winter months.
تقدم في الجزء الأول الكلام على أحكام الطهارة في أوقات الشتاء، البرد الشديد ووقت نزول الأمطار.
In last week's gathering, we looked at some of the concessions that are given and granted during the months of winter and when it's raining, relating to the rulings of purification.
ويبقى معنا أحكام الصلاة نعم أحكام الصلاة، ومن جملة أحكام الصلاة أحكام الأذان، فإن الأذان يرفع عند لدخول الوقت، لكن إذا كان وقت نزول المطر أو وقت البرد الشديد الذي يتأذى منه الناس فإنه يتعين على المؤذن زيادة عبارات على ألفاظ الأذان.
And today we will look at the rulings pertaining to the prayer. And the first of these relate to the adhan, A-T-H-A-A-N, which is the adhan being the call to prayer. And this is because the call to prayer is a part of the prayer itself. And we find that in the winter time, and specifically when it is raining or when there is a lot of cold that harms the people, that the adhan that calls the people to prayer, the words within it are increased. There is an addition to the wording of the adhan during these times.
أما الزيادة في الأذان في وقت البرد الشديد ووقت نزول الأمطار التي يتضرر منها الناس، تبل الجسد، يعني التي يحصل منها البلل، فقد يتأذى الإنسان خصوصا إذا كان معها ريح. فإذا كان معها ريح فإنه قد يصاب بالرشح والزكام والبرد وغير ذلك. فعندئذ يشرع للمؤذن أن يقول في أن يضيف إلى جمل الأذان الصلاة في الرحال، وفي رواية الصلاة في بيوتكم كما سيمر معنا. نعم.
So one of the rulings is that when there is extreme cold or there is rain, and accompanied with this rain is a biting wind, and these are situations where there is harm to those who go out and they go to perform the salah, such that they become wet and they become affected by the coldness and especially the wind and the rain, so that they're open to colds and they're open to becoming sick. In this situation, it's legislated for the caller to prayer, the mu'adhin, M-U-A-T-H-I-N, the mu'adhin, the caller to prayer. It's legislated for him to say and call out the prayer in your abode or the prayer in your homes. Both of these wordings have been reported.
والدليل على مشروعية قول المؤذن الصلاة في الرحال وقت البرد الشديد ما جاء في صحيح البخاري ومسلم عن نافع قال أذن ابن عمر في ليلة باردة بضجنان، وضجنان اسم مكان، اسم موقع، ثم قال صلوا في رحالكم. فأخبرنا أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يأمر مؤذنا يؤذن ثم يقول على إثره ألا صلوا في الرحال في الليلة الباردة أو المطيرة في السفر.
And the evidence for this is the hadith, the narration reported by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim on the authority of Nafi', N-A-A-F-I, who said that Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them both, he gave the adhan on a very cold night in a place called Dajlan, D-A-J-L-A-A-N. And he said, during the call to prayer, pray in your homes, pray in your abodes. It's probably more correct. And he said that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, when it was a cold night or it was rainy on a journey, he would call this in the call to prayer. He would say this.
الدليل على أن هذه الجملة تقال وقت المطر ما جاء أيضا عند البخاري ومسلم، واللفظ لمسلم من حديث عبد الله بن الحارث عن عبد الله بن عباس رضي الله عنهما أنه قال لمؤذنه في يوم مطير إذا قلت أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله فلا تقل حي على الصلاة، قل صلوا في بيوتكم. قال فكأن الناس استنكروا ذاك، فقال أتعجبون من ذا قد فعل ذا من هو خير مني، إن الجمعة عزمة أي واجبة، وإني كرهت أن أخرجكم فلا تمشوا فتمشوا في الطين والدحض، يعني المزلقة.
And we also see the evidence for this in the narration, the evidence that it's permitted to do at the time of rain, in the narration reported again by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim in their books. And the wording that we will take is the wording of Imam Muslim. And it's the narration on the authority of Abdullah ibn Harith, and then on the authority of Ibn Abbas, who said that it was said to the caller to prayer, that he said, Ibn Abbas said to the caller to prayer, when you say, after you've come to the point where you bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and then you do the testification that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is the messenger, then call out to the people to pray in their homes. So instruct the people to pray in their homes. And when this was done, the people did not like it, or they did not seem to accept it. And then Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them both, he said, indeed, proving his case, the one who is better than you and better than me, he is the one who ordered it, i.e. the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And he said, indeed, I know and I see that the Friday prayer is obligatory upon you. However, I do not wish you to come out and be afflicted by the rain and become muddy and for it to be difficult for you.
وأما موضع قول هذه الجملة صلوا في رحالكم أو صلوا في بيوتكم، فاختلف أهل العلم فيها، فمنهم من قال تكون بدل الحيعلة، بدل حي على الصلاة، ومنهم من قال تكون بعد الفراغ من الأذان، بعد أن يفرغ المؤذن من الأذان يقول الصلاة في الرحال أو الصلاة في بيوتكم، وذلك للحديثين آنفي الذكر. في حديث ابن عمر قال كان يأمر مؤذنا يؤذن ثم يقول على إثره، على إثر الأذان بعد أن يفرغ من الأذان. وفي حديث ابن عباس أن ابن عباس أمر المؤذن أن يقول بدل، قال فلا تقل حي على الصلاة، قل صلوا في بيوتكم. وأي الأمرين فعل المؤذن فهو حسن.
And the scholars have a difference of opinion as relates to where this should be said within the sequence of the call to prayer. So some of them, they say that it should be said, i.e. the order to, or the instruction that people should pray in their homes, it should be said instead of the statement, come to the salah, hayya ala salah. The others say that it should be said after the completion of the call to prayer in its totality. And this difference is due to the two hadith that we have just taken, because in the hadith of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them both, he says with the wording, or he instructs the mu'adhin, the caller to prayer, to say, he instructs him to say this sentence after he has said the adhan, i.e. after the completion of the call to prayer. And then in the hadith, in the narration of Ibn Abbas, now I'll be pleased with them both, he ordered the mu'adhin to say it instead of saying, come to prayer. And نعم.
نعم. وقد نص الشافعي في كتاب الأم في كتاب الأذان أنه يجوز أي اللفظين وأي الموضعين، أي اللفظين حي صلوا الصلاة في الرحال أو صلوا في بيوتكم، كلها جائزة كما ذكر الإمام الشافعي في الأم.
وشيخنا هذا بخصوص اللفظ، يعني كل
اللفظ والموضع، اللفظ والموضع كلاهما.
أثابكم الله. And the Imam and scholar Imam al-Shafi'i, he mentioned in his book, UMM, in the book of the call to prayer. He said it's permitted to say either of the two wordings, i.e., pray in your quarters or pray in your homes, and it is also permitted to say them in either of these two places within the sequence of the adhan, the call to prayer.
وهكذا أيضا ذكر الإمام ابن مفلح في كتاب الفروع بعد أن ذكر حديث ابن عباس وابن عمر رضي الله عنهم قال فدل على العمل بأيهما شاء، يعني في أي الموضعين قال تلك الجملة وبأي اللفظين.
And this was also the opinion of the scholar Ibn Muflih, IBN MUFLIH, who said this in his book Al-Furu' FUROO. He said the exact same thing. After explaining these two narrations, he said that it's permitted to say either of these two wordings, and it's permitted to say them in either place in the sequence of the call to prayer.
ومما ينبغي أيضا التنبه له أن المؤذن ينادي بهذه الصيغ إذا كان يؤذن خارج المسجد، أي يبلغ صوته الناس في أسواقهم ودورهم. أما إذا كان الوضع كما هو عليه في بلاد الغرب، يؤذن المؤذن داخل المسجد، فإنه لا يشرع له الاتيان بهذه الألفاظ وقت المطر والبرد الشديد، لأنه لا أحد يسمع، ولا يصح أن يقال لمن حضر ارجعوا فصلوا في بيوتكم، بل إن من حضر يكون له حكما آخر نتكلم عنه بعد قليل إن شاء الله.
And this is the case when the caller to prayer calls the people to prayer outside the masjid, such that his voice and his call to prayer reaches the ears of those who are outside the masjid, in their homes, in the marketplaces, and outside in the wider world. However, if the caller to prayer calls the call to prayer within the compounds of the masjid or within the building of the masjid, as is the case in the West, and people outside the masjid don't hear them, then it's not permitted and it's not legislated for them to change the call to prayer for this. So it's not permitted for them to tell the people to return to their homes and go and pray in their homes once they've come to the masjid. So for those people who have come to the masjid and attended with the intention of praying, there are other rulings for them that we will look at shortly.
فإذا جاءوا إلى المسجد واشتد المطر أو اشتد الريح مع برد شديد، فإنه يشرع لهم الجمع بين الظهر والعصر والمغرب والعشاء. فإذا أتوا إلى صلاة الظهر واشتد المطر وخشوا أن يشتد أكثر، أو اشتدت الريح وكان في وقت برد، فإنه يشرع لهم أن يجمعوا بين الصلوات التي تجمع، وهي الظهر والعصر والمغرب والعشاء، ويكون الجمع في الغالب جمع تقديم، لأنهم أتوا إلى المسجد ونودي بالجمع. نعم.
So as for those who have come to the masjid and the weather conditions are poor and bad, then it's permitted for them to combine between the prayers in a manner that it is permitted to combine. So the combination between the two prayers is either to combine between Dhuhr, THUHR, and Asr, ASR, so between these two, or to combine between Maghrib, MAGHRIB, and Isha, ISHA. So it's either permitted to combine between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha. And this is if the weather conditions, it's very cold, and it's raining and there's a severe wind. And the manner in which that they will combine usually is a combination that's earlier. So they will pray both of the prayers in the time of the first prayer. And this is because generally they would have come to the masjid and they would have wanted the salah, they would have wanted the prayer, and they would be there present for the first of the two prayers.
والجمع بين الصلاتين يكون لمن حضر للمسجد. أما إذا نودي الصلاة بالرحال وهو في بيته فإنه لا يجمع، بل يصلي كل صلاة في وقتها. وهكذا المرأة في بيتها، لأنه لا يجب عليها الخروج إلى المسجد، فإذا اشتد المطر والبرد فإنه لا يشرع لها أن تجمع، بل تصلي كل صلاة في وقتها، لأن الجمع إنما جعل للوقاية من الضرر، والذي يلزم بيته لا يقع عليه ضرر من المطر أو الهواء الريح.
This combining between the two prayers is for those who have attended the masjid bodily, in a bodily form. As for those where it's been called to pray in their homes and they've prayed at home, then it's not for them to combine between the prayers. And similarly, for the woman who prays at home, it's not permitted for her to combine between the prayers either. And that's because the combining between two prayers has been legislated to protect people from the harms of the weather. And these people, i.e. the people praying at home, or the women, they won't be adversely affected by the weather.
والدليل على جواز الجمع في حال المطر والريح الشديدة مع برد ما جاء في حديث أبي معاوية ووكيع عن الأعمش، كلاهما عن الأعمش عن حبيب بن أبي ثابت. يعني نختصر نقول في حديث ابن عباس حتى لا نطيل على مترجم الصم. في حديث ابن عباس قال: جمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين الظهر والعصر والمغرب والعشاء بالمدينة في غير خوف ولا مطر. يعني لم يكن خوف من عدو يداهم ولم يكن وقت نزول مطر. ففي حديث وكيع قال: قلت لابن عباس: لما فعل ذلك؟ قال: كي لا يحرج أمته، أي لا يوقع في الحرج إذا نزل مطر شديد أو وقع خوف، سواء خوف من عدو أو خوف من برد شديد أو نحو ريح. وفي حديث أبي معاوية قال: قيل لابن عباس: ما أراد بذلك؟ ما أراد إلى ذلك أي بذلك؟ قال: أراد أن لا يحرج أمته. رواه مسلم.
And it's been reported on the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that it's permitted to combine at times of rain and also at times of severe cold winds. And this has been reported on the authority of Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with them both, who said that the Prophet, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, he combined between Dhuhr and Asr and then Maghrib and Isha while he was in Medina. And he did so without reason of fear and without there being any rain. One of the reporters of this hadith who was reporting on Ibn Abbas, Waqi', W-A-Q-E-E, he said, or he asked Ibn Abbas, why did the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, do this? And he responded, Ibn Abbas, he responded by saying, so that his ummah would not be put to difficulty. And similarly, in the other narration of it, on the authority of Ibn Abbas, but the narrator Abu Muawiyah, he asked a similar question, and Ibn Abbas, he said similarly, he did not want to harm his nation or his people, and it was reported by Imam Muslim.
نعم. قال الشيخ الألباني رحمه الله تعالى في إرواء الغليل عند الكلام على هذا الحديث، قال في قوله من غير خوف ولا مطر، فإنه يشعر أن الجمع للمطر كان معروفا في عهده صلى الله عليه وسلم، ولو لم يكن كذلك لما كان ثمة فائدة من نفي المطر كسبب مبرر للجمع. فتأمل، يعني يقول الشيخ نعم لم يرد دليل يقول إذا كان المطر فاجمعوا، أو نعم، لكن الذي ورد أنه جمع كما علل ابن عباس، قال كما قال من غير خوف ولا مطر. قال الشيخ من هذا يفهم أنهم كانوا في حال المطر يجمعون. نعم.
And the Sheikh Al-Albani, may Allah have mercy upon him, he mentions in his book Al-Irwa, IRWA, he mentions where he talks about this narration. He says that Ibn Abbas said that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he did this combination without reason of fear and without reason of rain. So Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy upon him, says that this gives us the indication that it was a well-known practice at the time that they would join the prayers and combine the prayers due to rain. Because if this wasn't the case, there would have been no point in him mentioning or negating the fact that there was no rain when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, combined. So we see here that there isn't an explicit narration where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when it rains, then combine your prayers. There's no narration like that. However, the fact that rain is negated in this narration as a reason for combining, it shows us that it was a practice that was done at that time.
وهذا ما جرى عليه عمل الصحابة كما قال ابن عبد البر رحمه الله تعالى في كتابه الاستذكار، وهو من علماء المالكية. قال وروي عن عبد الله بن عمر وأبان بن عثمان وعروة بن الزبير وأبي سلمة بن عبد الرحمن وسعيد بن المسيب وأبي بكر بن عبد الرحمن والقاسم بن محمد وعمر بن عبد العزيز أنهم كانوا يجمعون بين الصلاتين ليلة المطر. ثم قال وهو أمر مشهور بالمدينة معمول به فيها، وبه قال أحمد وإسحاق يعني ابن راهويه.
And this was also mentioned by the scholar of Islam as Ibn Abdul Barr as being the actions of the companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, i.e. they would combine the prayers when it was raining. And he mentions in his book Al-Istidhkar, Al-Istithkar, Al-Istidhkar. He mentions that this was done, and it's been reported that a great many scholars have done it. Tom, I'm going to rattle through them. Ibn Umar, now I'll be pleased with them both. Aban, Ibn Uthman, Abu Salama, Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, and Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and Abu Bakr as well.
Abu Bakr ibn Uthman wa Urwa ibn Zubayr.
And Urwa ibn Zubayr. And he also said, Ibn Abdul Barr, he said that this was a well-known practice in Medina, and it was also the opinion of Imam Ahmad and Imam Ishaq. May Allah be pleased with them and have mercy upon them all.
على كل حال الحديث طويل، لكن الوقت قرب بالنسبة لموعدكم، أريد أن أختم بالقول بأنه في حال الشتاء يحسن بالمسلم أن يقوم الليل لطول الليل وأن يصوم النهار نافلة لقصر ساعات النهار. أسأل الله بمنه وكرمه أن يوفقنا وإياكم للعمل بمراضيه وطاعته، وأن يجعلنا وإياكم مباركين أينما كنا، والله تعالى أعلم، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
So there is much more to say, but due to time, I will shorten. It's good for you to know that during these times of winter, it's really good if you are able to stand the night in prayer and also to fast the days. And this is because the night is long. So the night, it comes in very early, and you can pray in the early portion of the night, and it will be written for you as a night prayer. And also the days are very short, so it's very easy for you to fast without much difficulty. And we ask Allah the Most High to grant us success and to grant us all that or grant us the success to do all that He loves and is pleased with. And may He send peace and salutations upon the Prophet Muhammad and upon his family and companions to the day of resurrection.
آمين. جزاك الله خير شيخ.
جزاكم الله شيخنا.
آمين آمين. طيب, inshallah, next week we're going to have a guest speaker, Sheikh Mustafa Hausawi, the cousin of Dr. Muhammad Bello. He's one of the very strong students of knowledge in Medina. And inshallah, I already spoke to him. Inshallah, next week, if you have any topic, let me know so early so we inform him, inshallah.
Time. And we'll continue then, inshallah, next week. جزاك الله خير.
inshallah. Barakallah fikum.
السلام عليكم.
السلام.
جزاكم الله خير شيخنا. جزاكم الله خير توم.
إياكم. جزاكم الله خير توم.